Hello, creative heroines. Welcome to this space, not just this physical space, but this live streaming space, this space where I get to connect with you. It's been, I believe, a couple weeks since I last live streamed, but I'm getting a very clear hit that these exchanges, which I'm really happy to, again, continue to have with you here, are going to come after my workouts. It's just the way it is, meaning I don't know if it's on brand, it doesn't matter, it's true, it's real, it's when I want to share most. And today I want to share with you a story of something that happened to me at around 5:45 in the morning. But before I do that, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Michelle Gelati, and I call all of you creative heroines. And if there are gents who are following and a part of this tribe, of course, well, then you are creative heroes. And essentially just what that means is the woman, the man, who moves from problem to solution in order to express to the world who they really are. And we're going to underline the word really. So I do, brand strategy. I coach women. I also coach some men, but there's a lot of focus on my female clients, and I help them with their expression. I help them with their taglines, their brand stories. I help them really around just the communication of who they are, but not just on the tangible pieces or elements or moving parts. It really, yes, we do all of that expression work, meaning all of the actual brand elements. And what's really most important, and what we're going to talk about today in this live stream, as you probably can tell through the title. And again, I'm so happy to have those of you who are streaming live, and for those of you who are going to be listening to the rebroadcast. So happy to have you here, and I can't wait to continue to connect with you. So, and yes, the work is also on the deeper side of things, meaning as much as we're working on your tagline and your brand story and your business model, anything that sort of is under not just the umbrella of branding, but also the umbrella of success coaching, or in other words, how to not just, create a successful business, but how to really have and feel, feel that definition of success for yourself, how to really feel successful in life and or business. Again, as I said, I think in my last live stream, as in business and as in life, as in life, as in business. If you're doing one thing amazingly well, if you are mastering one thing in one area of your life and or business, you are going to reap the benefits in the other. So I share, sort of a little bit of who I am and the work that I do, because it's really important to know that it isn't just about the external or final sort of expression of who you are, who you are expressing yourself to be, whether it is through your writing, through live streams, through your blogs, when you're speaking on stage. But it's also about the internal, meaning it's also when I look at the expression work that I do with women, it is also very much about the internal. It's also very much about belief in self. It is about confidence. It is about mastery of self. Again, we could master, and have the best strategy and have the best business model ever, and have the best products or programs ever. And yet, if we are not bringing the energy, if we are not owning the energy that we are bringing to a room, it's going to be really difficult and definitely not as fun. And I am way into having fun, not just in my life, but absolutely in my business with my clients. It is going to be way less fun for you to actually, and less sustainable, for you to actually put those programs and products, business models, etc., out into the world. So first thing that I want to share today before I tell you my story is, that it is about both. Be as excited, be as, desire as much to work on the internal as you do on the final external pieces of that business or of your life. The more that you can truly master your self-development, your personal development, that is it. I want to say that is it. Again, I always say this to clients that, whether it's on a free training or on a paid training, I'm trying to say it different ways so that it will land in you in a different way as well, and hopefully be the aha moment that you need for that day. But the more, as much as branding and expression work, meaning again your tagline, your website, your signature process, your signature program, as much as all of that is super duper important, it is very important and most important to master self, meaning to understand ourselves more deeply, to feel comfortable in our own skin, doing the work, doing the practices, doing the rituals, doing what it is that will eventually really allow us to feel that soft confidence in ourselves. Whether we are speaking to 500 people at a new event, whether we are speaking to 2,000 people in a live stream, or however many end up watching this, or whether we are speaking to 20 people, in our latest group program. Mastery of self, that comfort and that confidence in your own skin is your ultimate expression. So here's what I want to share with you today. And for those of you who've been following me for a while, again, let's say you've been on my newsletter list, or you've been part of the Michelle Gelati community here on Facebook, or maybe you've taken a workshop from me, maybe you've been a client, maybe, in some other way we've sort of, we have connected and have been connecting for longer than just a few months. What the story that I'm about to share with you will not probably come as a huge surprise, even though for those of you who are new to me and maybe okay, she does brand strategy, she helps women with branding, she helps women with success in their business, again, whatever that definition of success is to you. I have women who are working with me who say, okay, success to me right now in this stage and or season in my life is X amount of revenue. For someone to the left of her, it might be spending more time with my family. So maybe it's more like life-family balance. Sharing all of that to say that there are literally 7 billion definitions of success on this planet. So really tune in. Before I share this story, really tune in to what your definition of success is. And as much as I do this work, the branding work and the success coaching work, there is also a lot, again, for those of you who know me, there's a lot that I share all the time, especially in writing, around spirituality and around intuition. And in fact, many years ago, and it's still up on my site, but the free book that you can download when you go to my site is called The It Factor, and it has 2 I's and a T. And the first I is about intuition, the second I is about innovation, how we can be innovators, and T is truth, which truth to me is basically how can we be more of ourselves, and which is really what this 5:45 a.m. story is about. How can we speak our truth? How can we be more ourselves? And therefore, how can we meet the exact people we're supposed to meet? How can we, be magnetic to not just the right people, as in friends, as in clients, but to the right business. Literally, the right business sort of will find us. When I say the right business, I mean, obviously you are probably in your business right now, but I mean, the more and more that you continue to walk this path of being yourself, the more that will be sort of revealed to you around your purpose, around what this business, you'll get more refined. You will have the ahas. It will feel more refined, more elegant. It will feel more you. So I've actually already sort of shared a little bit of my story. So here goes. So we're going to expand the conversation today. Yes, we're talking about expression. Yes, we're talking about success. And yes, we're also talking about intuition. We're also talking about spirituality. So 5:45 in the morning, my alarm was going to go off soon. And I'm in this. This has never happened to me before, and this is why I'm sharing it. It was something very, very unique that I may write about, but honestly, I wanted you to hear my voice. I wanted you to see me expressing this and sharing this with you, because I thought it would be, and know that it will be more powerful than you reading it, in my newsletter or in my blog. So 5:45 in the morning, I'm asleep. I'm pretty much still asleep. Maybe, and again, it's hard to really know, but there was a part of me that was slightly awake. I was not in a dream state. I was definitely conscious to a point, yet physically I knew I was still a good 70% asleep. So 5:45 in the morning, and I got very clearly in my system, in my brain, sort of saw the words. Can't tell you that it was a voice, but I can tell you that it was words that I saw in my mind's eye. And the words were, and I had to write them down on this big piece of paper. The words were, "It's only when you show who you really are that more is revealed." Now there's more to that, so just stay with me. It's only when you show who you really are that more is revealed. Now, it was like on a loop, and I remember being in this sort of half sleep state and saying to myself, I don't want to forget this. I don't want to forget this. And it wasn't like, because, as a creative type and as a writer, I have paper next to my bed, and there's a lot of ideas that will come in the early morning. This wasn't an idea. This was something was sort of coming through that was a very meaningful message that I feel and felt that I needed to share with not just my husband, at 6 a.m., but with all of you, especially as it relates to your success and your feelings of success, meaning, really feeling like you are expressing all that you are so that you actually can pull, that vision or that sort of greatest success that you so want to you. So this thought, again, it was not an idea, this thought kept going, and I do remember saying to myself, I don't want to forget this, I don't want to forget this. And again, it's still in sort of sleep state, and this sort of voice or this thought kept going, and it said, the more that is revealed is when you meet your purpose. So here's the full download. Here's the full channeling that happened, or something very unique and cool. The full message was, it's only when you show who you really are, and again, as at the beginning of the live stream, when I said let's underline the word really, we're going to do that again. It's only when you show who you really are that more is revealed. The more that is revealed is when you meet your purpose. So here's the message for today. There are, and I support women in getting clear on their purpose, and so I'm very passionate about this work. I love the sort of tangible business strategy, brand strategy, and if we are not grounded in meaning, if we are not grounded in a purpose or in purpose, women like you and I, again, these creative heroines who we have walking all over the world, women like you and I are not as happy / peaceful / fulfilled. We don't feel the level of joy that we know is absolutely possible. And that's not enough, meaning that's not okay. We're always searching for more. So here's the thought around purpose, and then I'll sort of wrap it all up and have you sort of take it from here. There are many different ways that people look at purpose work or gaining clarity on your purpose. I'm gonna stick with one today, and I'm sure as we continue talking through these live streams, through these videos, more will also be revealed. I'll continue to share with you on purpose work as well, and what that has to do with expression. But there is one belief that you might have heard that, or sort of one approach, one way of thinking around purpose, which is that every single one of us on this planet has a very similar purpose. And that purpose is to be more ourselves. That purpose is to be more unapologetically ourselves, more unabashedly ourselves. And that, once we start to do that, once we actually start to do that more consistently, that is when, again, this message, and I literally at 6 a.m. I kind of wrote my sort of download around this, so that's why I'm looking at it, that to be more ourselves unabashedly, of course, once we sort of walk through that door, walk through the next door, walk through the next door, and say yes to our full expression, say yes to the ideas we want to share, to the belief systems we have, to the values we have, to how silly we are, to how passionate we are, to loving our voice, literally loving our physical voice when we watch this live stream back or hear. I remember years and years and years ago when I did my first training on Instant Teleseminar, and I listened to my voice back, and it was such a, I won't want to say shocking, but it was such a moment for me. And I'm sure maybe you've had the same situation, hearing a voicemail you've left, or maybe a training you've done, if you're a business owner, and having a moment with it and trying to figure out why I was feeling so funny and so sort of curious and slightly odd, listening to my own voice. So the more that we are able to walk through these doors of expression, and be more ourselves, is when we are shown, and here's what I wrote down, when we are shown in no uncertain terms what to do with our usness, with our who we are-ness. But it all starts with expressing your more full self. Your purpose starts there. And listen, I'm a woman who, not only just in my coaching and mentoring work, but just in my life, again, it's all the same thing. I am a huge believer that we have multiple purposes. I absolutely believe that that is one of them. We came here to more fully express. We also came here to more fully express the connection that we still have with something more, meaning with our spirituality, and hopefully expressing that in our physical form, remembering our connectedness in the world, remembering this wisdom that we come with, or that I believe that we came into the world with, everything from compassion to, again, just this innate joy of being alive, that we also came into existence to hopefully to get closer and closer and closer every day back to basically what we knew when we were born, that first breath that we took. We knew all of this. We knew compassion. We knew joy. We knew expression. We knew how to be ourselves. And, slowly, society, family, different things, different people had an effect on us. And all of a sudden we started looking left and right and deciding that what someone was doing to the left of us, what somebody was doing to the right of us was better, was, cooler, was more successful, was the right way to do something. And we've been learning how to come back to ourselves. We've been learning how to truly express who we really are, essentially from that moment on. And so again, when I talk about branding work, it is let's even scratch that term, from the record. It is so much more than branding work. This is, if we can really think of it this way, that branding work, or your expression work out in the world, whether you're a business owner or not, meaning you are out in the world professionally, you are out in the world with your passion projects, you are out in the world volunteering, you are out in the world buying groceries, you are out in the world being yourself, that the more that you can actually be the person that you came here to be, the more that you can actually fully express yourself, as I was sharing just a couple of minutes ago, is when, in no uncertain terms, because you're going to be on purpose. Remember, this is one of your purposes. In no uncertain terms, that the next what to do, the next clarity point around how to show up, what to do in your business, who to call, who you're supposed to meet, like all these things, everything will be shown to you, but it all starts with expression, which I love, because you think about, sometimes we can really make purpose work or really the work of being successful way more difficult than it has to be. But if you and I actually just, to be successful, let's put it plainly, to be successful, and again, whatever, like I said at the beginning of this live stream, whatever success means to you, it is, it always comes back to, belief in self, and it always comes back to how we are saying, or basically signing up for more of ourselves. And I love that because it makes it so much easier. Whenever we start to feel any sort of confusion around how to be successful or how to be more happy, bring it back to the basics. Bring it back to the basics. And in this, in this example, bringing it back to the basics is, let's express who we really are. Like, we're talking 150% of who we really are. I remember, let's see, I've been in business, it'll be 16 years this September, and about 9 or 10 years ago, I remember feeling not very happy in my business. Now, I had word of mouth, I had great referrals. That wasn't the issue. But for someone like me who has always been so called to do the things and to be with the people and to express in a way and to, really use my creativity so that I feel more joy. That to me is success. When I feel joy, when I'm with the people that I love, when I can express all sides of myself, that is success to me. That is, feels meaningful. It feels beautiful. And I remember a long, long time ago, again, sort of newish into business, about 5 or 6 years, and I felt unhappy. Yet the business stuff was working just fine. But I started to get clear, I know why I'm not, I know why I'm not feeling happy. And that's because I am not fully expressing who I truly am. I did not consciously say it exactly that way back then, because that's not where I was, meaning those are not the words that I used. That is not exactly sort of how it came to mind. But it was something to the effect of, I feel like if I could just pump more of who I really am, not the professional Michelle, not the person, again, who I think the people to my left or to my right think I need to be in this business or in this life. Let's just expand it out. In this life, who people think, who I think people need me to be. I ended up doing that. I started then, and I share this story in a lot of my trainings and a lot of my writing, is that I started to actually do that. I started to pump more of who I really was into my brand. I remember writing sort of the about us on my website, or with clients I was always myself. Again, you get me in person, and it's just like, meaning back then you got me in person, and it's very hard to hide who I am. So that was fine. But if you're like me, whether you're the me 10 years ago or you're in this space right now where you're that way too, where someone gets you live and it's like, yeah, of course, you're 150% yourself. You feel totally aligned. You feel really comfortable in your skin to express all that you are. But then the second that you are business Michelle, business Jennifer, business Jill, business Laura, that you all of a sudden you feel like you have to pass your expression through some other filter, meaning that someone has to approve this. Someone has to approve you being yourself. Somebody has to approve you being all of yourself, meaning the multi-passionate Laura, the multi-passionate Michelle, the multi-passionate Jill or Jennifer or whatever. And so I definitely did that. I was passing my expression way back then through this filter. Did that just cut off? Oh, yeah, no. So my business ended up going threefold. Now, let's be honest, because that's what really your expression is this is what it's all about. Let's keep it real. Let's be you. And the more that you are you, the more that you own who you are, the less that you're going to ever have to try and fight to find clients. But again, consistently being you, consistently you shining your light, consistently you sharing your truth, consistently you having downloads or channelings or ideas, and more quickly actually sharing those with the world versus keeping them to yourself or going, well, is this good enough? Is this not good enough? In your gut, in your belly, in the belly of intuition, when you are to share something. And what happens is that with creative women, I will come back to the point that I was making, that with creative women, which I believe all of us are, whether we accept that title or not, you are creative. If you love to create things in the world, if you love to create and pump love into the world, if you love to create joy, if you love to, create a painting, if you love to create music, if you love to, dance, whatever it is, you are creative. You know, if you love creating something from nothing, you are creative. And what happens with us creative women, us creative heroines, is that if we don't more quickly put our ideas, our thoughts, our beliefs, in other words, our multi-passionate selves, all of who we are out into the world, again, in this expression, or what we call your brand, is that we start to doubt everything. You know, we start to doubt everything. And so what I mean about more quickly is, I was just sharing this on a training with clients the other day, is that, you know, I have a lot of clients who maybe, let's say, they feel blocked, or they feel like they don't know the next step, or they don't have the next business idea, or whatever it is. And what I have seen is that it's not so much that you don't have the ideas, or you don't know what to do, or you're not able, or that there's anything wrong. There's actually nothing wrong. It's just that with creative types like us, meaning the creative heroines in the world, all of us, ladies, is that we think about it too much. We have the download, we have the idea, we have the thought, and then before we ever get it out into the world, before we ever express it, before we ever share it in a blog, before we ever send it in our newsletter, before we ever get on live stream, and maybe even before we ever share it with a friend, poof, it's gone. Because we've thought about it so much. We've poo-pooed it too long. Like we look at it and we go, oh, that's not so great. And then maybe we say, you know, to ourselves, actually, it's a great idea, you know, but then it's the creative process. You go back from, hey, it's an amazingly creative idea, to, no, it's not that good. And it's gone. And then we do that again. We get another creative idea. We get another download. Excuse me. And once again, we go through that creative process of judging it, right? And it's all normal. This process is normal. It's called the human process. It's called the creative process. But the point, you know, what you and I get to do as self-starters, as creative people, as people who love to create something from nothing, as entrepreneurs, as whatever title you want to put yourself in. I mean, basically as a humanpreneur, what you and I get to do is listen to those ideas, listen to those callings, listen to those, those sharings, those expressions that we want to put out into the world, and seize the day, seize the moment, immediately share them. No more judging, no more asking, no more putting through is this professional? No more putting through the filter of, but is this good enough? You know in your gut. You absolutely always know in your gut when it's an awesome download for you, meaning it's something authentic, it's something super relevant, it's something that needs to come through. And listen, if it's something that feels that passionate, that relevant to you, trust me when I say that is going to be wildly relevant to people listening to you, to your client base, to your potential client base, to the world. You know, this is not just a conversation around business or entrepreneurship and expressing yourself within that sort of entity or in that arena. This is about you expressing yourself as a whole, you know, meaning every day, all the time, every day. Because as I shared at the beginning with my download this morning, and again, I could have changed after my workout, I could have, there's just so many things that I think as business owners and as humans, we judge so much, and we overthink so much that, again, we look up, or we, end up wanting to turn on the live stream and we go, oh my gosh, the idea is gone, that passion is gone, the fire is gone for that particular idea, until of course the passion, the creative sort of, the creative process and the creative in you sort of takes over again. But, and I know I promised that I'd go back to the message I was sharing before, but I just was so passionately wanting to talk about what I just shared that I'll just keep going with that. So obviously this is what needed to come through. So hopefully that really supports you in really understanding that expression work and your purpose work in this world for the greater good is for you to be more yourself. That is your purpose. That is one of your purposes. And I know I shared earlier that I believe we have multiple purposes, and I absolutely believe that. Again, I won't go into all of that today, but our one of our purposes is absolutely to express more of who we really are. Because guess what happens? And I guess right now I'm about to tell you a couple of the other purposes that I think that we have on this planet and in this lifetime. regardless of who we are, where we live, what we're doing, anything. It means feeling who you are and deciding in that next moment that that's who you're going to express. Meaning you're not going to express through this filter of what you think society wants you to say or who, society wants you to be. You're going to speak from here. You're not going to speak from your mind. You're not going to speak from the intellectualized properties. You're going to speak from your heart. You're going to speak from that gut center. And that's really where entrepreneurship, again, whether you are truly an entrepreneur, a business owner or not, I think that, I always say that entrepreneurship, that's what it's about. It's about feeling that fire within. It's connecting to that fire, meaning that passion, that excitement that you and I have about creating something from nothing. So this is, again, a larger sort of conversation, not just about expression, but about creativity. So back to the point of, once we really get rooted in this truth around that we are here to more fully express ourselves. And for those of you who jumped on later, make sure to go back to the beginning of this live stream where I share with you what happened to me at 5:45 in the morning, because this will all sort of make sense. So once we get even more clear around that piece, that we are here, you and I, one of our purposes is to one is being out in the community with people we don't know. So it's not our family, not our friends, not our children, and doing the same thing, meaning speaking from that same place of, I honor your expression. I honor your individuality. I honor the way that you want to share your truth, the way you want to shine bright, the way that you want to, be in this world, the way that you want to dance and flow and be quiet, be loud, be silly, be whatever you want to be. I honor that because that is your purpose. So that's you could think of sort of like purpose 1C is to walk to walk in the world, walk out in the world and be that cheerleader, be that champion for other people. Again, also, no matter how uncomfortable it might make any of us, to more allow, honor, respect, cheerlead, champion other people's more full expression. So again, in closing, because again, I have to take my son to pick up his two friends from soccer practice. They're having play date here in a little bit. Is the nutshell. Let's put this together in a beautiful, tight together with a beautiful bow. Is really, it's all about owning who you are. And when you start to show up as yourself more and more consistently. And when I say as yourself, I mean, let me qualify that. As the sort of the 150% version of you, the biggest expression of you possible, is when the day, literally, everything will become easier. Meaning, this will be the day that you will no longer be searching for clients. This will be the day that you will meet your soulmate. This will be the day that you will meet more and more people, more and more friends in your life who you feel that gut connection with, that you feel so touched. Meaning, like, when you feel like, I've known you my whole life. There's such a synergy. There is such an understanding because you have shown up to be exactly who you are. Not the default version of you, not the version of you who society said, for you to be, not anyone else, not who business, not who your brand, not who your professional self told you needed to be, but you. Backwards and forwards, that is when you, again, these problems that women talk to me about meeting, their sort of soulmate clients, it will cease to exist because you will be that beacon. You will stand taller as yourself. If you're trying to be anyone else but yourself, not that any of us are doing that consciously, of course, but I am saying let's bring a consciousness. Let's bring an awareness, a more refined, a more elegant awareness to who we are being. Meaning asking ourselves, am I being the biggest expression of myself possible in this business? Am I being the biggest expression of myself possible in this relationship? Am I being the biggest expression of myself possible, out in the world? Because when you think of creating something from nothing, when you think about creating your brand and continuing to step into that brand and continuing to know what to do at the next step and the next step and the next step, it all is rooted and based from you actually speaking from, more loudly from that place, more consistently from that truth, from your ultimate truth, from what you truly believe, from what you truly find passionate, from what you truly, from how you truly express. Again, there is no one else that you need to be in your business. It is you. Again, and I'm sure you've heard this said before, it's not something that is unique to me, meaning I didn't create this statement, is that, people buy you. For those of us entrepreneurs or business owners, people buy you long before they ever buy your products and services. And as far as friendships are concerned, or soulmate relationships, same thing. You will actually meet the very people that you are so intimately connected to, from minute one, when you are being fully yourself. So you do not need a certification for that. You do not need more training for that. You do not need anything outside of yourself to fully own your power. So to come back to what I shared at the beginning, and then I will bid you adieu for today's live stream, is again the download that I got at 5:45 in the morning. It's only when you show, and again I have to read it because I wrote it down this morning so I wouldn't forget it. It's only when you show who you really are that more is revealed. The more that is revealed is when you meet your purpose. So imagine that. Let's just try that on for size. Again, if you were to go out into the world as if that was true, that the more that you show who you really are in your business, the more that you show who you really are in your life every single day, that the more will be revealed to you, the more ahas, the more doors will open to what your ultimate purpose is. But you cannot find out what this other purpose is if you don't first land in this first purpose, meaning in this first purpose of being more fully yourself. So thank you so much for being on this live stream. I hope it has, and actually I trust that it has supported you in some way or another. And I will definitely be back with you creative heroines sooner rather than later. Again, as I shared in my first live stream, I think about 10 days ago, I will be sharing more in this space. So in short, remember that you truly are a creative heroine. You are constantly moving from problem to solution in order to explore